Oh, don't give me a hard time today. Hello and welcome to H&D Abroad. I am Herman, coming to you live on this Monday night, also known as Man Monday. Glad to have an opportunity to meet with you today and chat. Just going to be here for a little while. Just want to share some thoughts with you that have come to me this week that I think are important, that men need to take mindfulness about. Hey, Lori, good to see you. Here on H&D Abroad, my wife Dee and I share our experience as we strive to move abroad, and this live in real-time journey that we have to find a place that feels like home. We do that through our very in-depth research about countries and places around the world, through building a community with you, and in hopes of building some generational wealth and increasing our health. So if that sounds interesting to you, especially if you are new to our channel, we ask you to like this video first and foremost, then subscribe to our channel, become a part of our community, because in this community we grow together. And then hit the notification bell, because that is how you'll know that we go live. We go live more than we record, and we go live every Saturday here on YouTube from 1 p.m. Central Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern. So on Monday nights, not all Monday nights, but some Monday nights, I do a Man Monday, and this is one of those nights. I'm always takes me a minute to warm up, but we're going to do this. This is a conversation. So please jump into the chat. Let me know you're here, like Lori. Let me know you're here so that we can have a conversation together. I'm sharing some thoughts, but this is a conversation that we want to have. Focusing this conversation at men in particular, because health is a continued concern for the Black man as we are especially as we age, paying attention to things like our blood pressure, with concerns for things like diabetes, stroke, heart disease. We really are trying to find better ways of living so that we can maximize our lives and spend more meaningful time with those we love. One of the most evident signs of health concern in men, in people in general, but especially in men, is what is seen as belly fat, gut. And the thumbnail that I put out today said, I trust my gut. There's twofold to that. One, because I wanted to talk about trusting. Usually that phrase is meant about trusting our instincts, believing in ourselves. But also, I wanted us to begin to pay more attention to what our gut health is telling us. Heart disease is one of the major causes of death in people of color. And for a lot of people, the presence of a distended gut is a sign of stress. So we'll start with stress today, because stress is the obvious one. Stress is one of those things we're not sure if we can get away from if we want to, because most of us don't know how to handle stress appropriately. We get up in the morning, we throw some level of food into our mouths, if anything. If we have children, we're rushing them out of the house. We're commuting with family. We're trying to get through major traffic to wherever our work destination is. For those of us who still drive to work every day, who aren't remote workers, and we carry that beginning of a stressor into our workday. In our workplaces, For many of us, we are not as respected as we would like to be. We struggle with discrimination based on our gender. We struggle with discrimination based on the color of our skin. We struggle with discrimination based on our age, whatever level of education we have or assumed we should have. We spend all day trying to prove ourselves, trying to show our worth. And then we get very little meals, appropriate meals in us. We eat on the run. We don't hydrate. We don't have proper meals throughout the day. Then we get back in that car. We make that same stressful commute back to the house. Then we deal with whatever we have to face on the other side of home in the evenings. We collapse into sleep, usually late meal at the end of the day, and then we cycle that all over again. Any off days we spend building, fixing, correcting, overeating, and our bellies show it. I battle with, torso weight, and knowing that the stress, that some of it is obvious and some of it isn't obvious. Some of the stress that we deal with is unexpressed things. I'm holding it in so I don't say the wrong thing, and we're on the verge of being explosive. And that stress sits right in our midsection. It's been a point of embarrassment for me a lot of times, because mine is in my chest and in my stomach, and it feels a lot of times like no matter what I do, no matter what I change to eat, but it wears and it wears, and it becomes another point of stressor, and then you're trying to find clothes to fit, and it becomes a systematic thing. We know that women tend to express their discomfort or dislike in that area. As men, a lot of times we unfortunately kind of grin and bear it. Oh, it's a sign of age. It's a sign of, I'm dealing with life, and we just kind of go with it. What we don't realize a lot of times is that is a sign that our hearts are overworking, that our bodies are failing us. And the cortisol in our systems is building up in our stomach, and we are damaging our organs and our health, which then decreases things like mobility. It affects how we sleep, which then further makes us more uncomfortable when it's time to work out. And it becomes an ongoing thing, and it is a recognizable hindrance in our lives. Stress, we accept stress for what it is. Are there positive stressors? Absolutely. But most of the stressors in our lives are negative events or negative feelings that we carry around, and our bodies don't allow us to hide it anymore. We're worried about money. We're worried about jobs. And there are some of the more obvious ways to deal with stress. So there is regular exercise. There is regulating and being more consistent in our sleep patterns. Sleep is a big deal. Sleep is a thing that many of us from probably our college age years begin to neglect, if not before. You go to school and you spend up all night writing papers and, doing stuff last minute and cramming, and you dig into I just need this amount of time, and you get up in the first thing in the morning and you slept 3 hours, you slept 4 hours. You don't sleep 2-3 days in a row. We go out and party when we're in our 20s, and it's a big thing to be up, a couple of days running with the guys and with the girls and having fun. But then we carry that into our work lives. This remote work period of our lives since the pandemic has been as much of a burden as it has been a blessing. For many of us, we don't have to make that commute anymore. We don't have to get out and drive across town and deal with 30 or 40 people in the environment. But what we also don't successfully do, many of us, is cut the computer off. We don't regulate our work time. We find ourselves dabbling all hours of the day and night, and get little to sleep, if any, if not less than we were getting when we were commuting across town. And that creates a stressor, and most people don't know that. 7 to 8 hours of sleep sounds impossible to a lot of people, because we have a strong sense of the fear of missing out. I still got to talk to, I still got to finish, I still need to accomplish. I'm still watching, I'm binging, and are beating ourselves up. At 46, I had a mild stroke, or a TIA is what it was called. And I'm positive that event was stress related. Wasn't my heart, wasn't because I was on my feet, but I sincerely believe it was stress related. It was stress induced. And if I'm honest, I have to admit that I'm not sure that some of the patterns well, maybe I should say I've reintroduced some of the patterns that were present when that event happened. And I'm trying to take notice of that. Trying to remove stresses in my life that I have control over. So, did I exercise today in some form or fashion in a way that was recognizable to my body? Gentlemen, if you work a labor job, that is not exercise. Your body peaks out at the work you do every day. You have to do some focused, attentive exercise work on your body, because that is how your body is going to begin to burn fat and burn extra energy and toxins that build up in our body. I was at the massage therapist this Saturday, and she's like, you're carrying stress in your back, in your hips. And I spend a lot of time on my feet. So you're talking about eventually that begins to hurt. My knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my back hurts. And I may be carrying stress. So that's one of the things I wanted to address. The second thing I have written here is sadness. Depression is real. And I think, unfortunately, is overlooked a lot of times in men, because it does not always look like tears and weeping. It does not always look like moping. Depression, sadness can be identified sometimes by lack of motivation. It can be identified by the inability to move forward, to try new things, lack of engagement in the way we used to engage with the people who are important to us. There is There is coming home at the end of the day and resting, sitting down, taking a break. And there is coming home at the end of the day and disconnecting from everybody and everything. And unfortunately, I think that sometimes that's a sign of depression. I spent some considerable times where I had to face long periods of unemployment for reasons that were outside my control. And I remember feeling frustrated because even the simplest jobs were being denied me. I mean, for the sake of trying to take care of my family, I was applying to, anywhere, Walmart, Home Depot, anything, so that I could just, be in a consistent rotation of having some finances come into the house. And those jobs either did not respond to me or flat out said no. And you begin to question your value, your worth, your ability, and not recognize. I don't think that I recognized that I fell into a point of depression. I looked back on it and talking with Dee and said, that I was really tied up. I was really bound up, and my weight ballooned. My ability to sleep got worse. What I had a passion for and hunger for, even in eating or doing, just became muted, just unenjoyable. And what emotions began to rise up were things like anger, short temper, impatience. And those things, again, they showed up right in here. I also went through a period where there was my hair was patching. And when that started, I thought I was okay. I was doing okay. I wasn't sad. I wasn't upset. But I went through an extended period of time with just a patch of hair began to fall in my hair. Not recognizing at the time that I probably should have stopped immediately and talked to somebody. Hey, I'm not sure what's going on here. Let's back up here a minute. Because I think it's important to say too, that sometimes when we seek help, we don't always get the support that we're looking for. I had a couple of doctors, male doctors, who I expressed some concerns about some physical things that were happening with me. And for lack of a better way to say it, I felt that they blew me off. It's consecutive set of men. And that continued for a few years. And I had the honor, after my stroke, unfortunately, but I had the honor of accidentally getting a new doctor, young Black woman. And in the time that I was honored enough to have her as my doctor, I had many of the concerns, physical concerns that I had been addressing with my male doctors for over 10 years, addressed by her in a matter of a few months in ways that possibly could have prevented some other things going on. I'm not telling you not to trust your doctor. I'm telling you to keep finding people to find information from until you have information, until you have resolved the questions that you have. One, don't ignore the signs. It's not just a pain. It's not just a limp. It's not just, whatever. If you get a bruise and you think, I move around all day, I might have bruise, and the bruise lasts 2-3 days and then it's gone. Okay, you got a bruise. But if every few days you're finding new bruises, or you getting bruised and you don't have any understanding of why you're having bruises, and bruises are lasting for days or more, or you're having symptoms that you can't explain for days, weeks, months, stop and get help, because it might be a sign of emotional health. It might be a sign of a physical problem. As people of color, we spend too much time, I think, sometimes self-medicating, giving ourselves our own remedies. I believe in the old remedies. I believe that some of those have been forgotten and lost. But if you have something that you've been self-medicating for years, it's more than just a thing. Okay? Reflux can be a big issue. It can be a big thing. It's a sign of what is going on in your gut health. It means that you have acids from your stomach that are coming up inside your esophagus and your throat, and they're trying to tell you something's not right in your gut. Trust your gut. If you're eating things that you like, but they don't like you, there's a reason for that. If you are drinking things that you like and they don't like you, there's a reason for that. That's not ignore it. We have a good friend who is allergic to chocolate and is equally as addicted to chocolate, and she eats chocolate and gets sick. And after a while, you have to say, are you putting your life in jeopardy for a fix? It is okay to say to the people around you, I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time. I think that leads into the secrets part for me. As men, we're often accused, stereotyped as not being verbal enough, not sharing enough, of not speaking our mind. I've had a couple of recent conversations with some gentlemen who said, I have a woman in my life who's important to me. And she said to me, I need you to express yourself. I need you to share what's on your mind. Tell me when you're upset. Tell me when things are not right. And when they did, the response they got was, that's not true. Or that's not right. Or that's not what's happening. Or that's not who I am. To the people in the lives of men, I heard this gentleman in the conversation over on Dr. Kimani Norrington Sands' page yesterday. The gentleman said, sometimes I just need you to listen. Sometimes I just need you to be present. I need you to hear me out. I don't need you to debate me. I don't need you to fix it for me. I need you to hear my frustration. I need a safe place to express I'm struggling with something. That struggling with something can be, what's going on at work. You need a safe place to blow that steam, because we don't all have a way to push back at work sometimes. Sometimes it's something in our personal lives that we're fighting with. I don't know how to manage this. I don't know how to overcome this. I don't know how to take this risk. And we're not looking from our parents, our siblings, our spouses, whatever. We're not looking for man up. We're not looking for you to tell us that. We're not looking for, you to identify a solution for us. We're not, given time and support, a lot of times we can figure it out and fix it ourselves. But I want to say to the men, be honest with yourself about who you are and where you are in your life, in your struggles. I wonder sometimes if hiding things is a sign of our bodies show that in that same way. It's a different kind of stressor, but I'm afraid to address this. I got this thing. Somebody said, for some people, I have an addiction. I have a challenge that I don't know how to address out loud, and so I'm carrying it around by myself, and my body is responding. I need you, gentlemen, to trust your gut. Your body is saying to you, pay attention. Something's not right. What you're eating is not right. How you're living is not right. Somebody in your life is not right. There are other jobs. I know that's easier said than done. There are other jobs. There are things you can do where you feel excited about doing them. Yes, take care of yourself. Eat right, exercise right, get some sleep, spend happy times with your family. Don't just, and again, this need to build friendships with people with whom you can express yourself is important. And Lori, I understand that. I don't, as a man, I would like a male doctor. There are some things I want to express in a way that I know a man should be able to understand because he is male. But unfortunately, that has not been successful for me over the course of 4 to 5 doctors. My first real experience with a male doctor was on my way to college, and I felt embarrassed after my interaction with him. I'm not quite sure how to deal with that, because and it's I'm at the point in my life now, male doctor, female doctor, whatever. I need somebody to help me address the situation. But sometimes there's some male stuff you just want to talk to a man about. But if they're not going to take care of me, fam, I'm looking for the best doctor. And the best doctor for me is the person who hears me and helps me address what's going on with me. And that is not just my medical doctor, that's also my therapist. That the people who, if you're sitting down across from somebody sharing yourself and they're not providing you with what you need to feel like you can move forward, you have the right and the authority to start over with someone else. And yes, my best doctor, Big Sis Doula, was a woman. And I wish I knew where she was. I would travel to the other side of the world to find her if I knew where she disappeared to. She was placed in my life exactly when I needed her and helped me to accomplish some things that were important. One of the things that are really important that I think are underlying to a lot of the conversations that I have here is I really would like to see us as Black people, men and women, find a way to make a way back to each other as a community. We're not talking about relationships. I'm talking about as a community. I think sometimes we're still on different pages. We're understanding things differently. And I'd like to see us communicate together in a way that builds this community, because the Black community is in a really dangerous place in this country. And the less connected we are, the less on the same page we are, the more in detriment we are to being right back to where we were 40, 50 years ago, if we aren't already. I am a firm believer that what we are eating or failing to eat, and that's something that I'll be talking about in the coming weeks, that what we are eating and failing to eat um, is harming us because it does not mirror the food of our heritage. And I mean, before we were enslaved. There are some remnants of it. There are some, reflections of it, but we don't eat the way we were created, unlike a lot of other cultures. And because of that, we are facing health problems that could be possibly addressed by being more in touch with our lineage of eating, our heritage of eating. Men in community is a part of our heritage. Big groups of men dancing, singing. Go look at the video, see them. Do the research. It's a part of who we are. And I'm eager to have the Black men in my community, for us to join together and make ourselves a healthier community together. And I think by doing that, we can learn better leadership. And by learning better leadership, I think that the women in our lives will trust us more. Will trust us more. We have to trust ourselves. We have to trust our guts. We have to listen to ourselves and our hearts and our health. That was something that I saw yesterday, and in responding to little things that I've been watching online, men talking about fighting at work and fighting at home, and unhappy in this country, and listening to people who say, I moved out of this environment either at work, or I moved out of this environment either maybe in this country, and I did things that were a big deal to me. And I lost weight and I didn't do anything different. I'm feeling happy. I'm sleeping better. I'm a better partner. We're not all going to pack up our bags and move out of the country. That's not going to happen. Right now, where we are in this space, in this time, we have to take care of what we have today. I am personally tired of hearing guys say, I retired, and then somebody said they died weeks later, months later. I plan to be here till D gets tired of me. And that means that I have to seriously address what's going on in my gut. So I got off work earlier today because I needed the time. I got a meal that is cooking over here that's waiting on me. It's sizzling. I'm excited to have that I cooked, that makes me feel good because I did it for me. If anybody else gets to eat it, I'm happy for them. I did it for me. I'll be looking for some work tonight because it's important to me. I'm having, to the best of my ability each day, having more open and honest and earnest conversations with my partner, because I can't afford to be holding on to anything, hiding anything. I am who I am. This is what's going on. This is where I'm afraid of. This is what I'm dealing with, because I want this gut to go away. And I trust my gut. Health is important. Do you think men will be comforted being quiet to hear and honor their intuition? I think Big Sis Doula, that they're very capable of doing so. I think, unfortunately, sometimes there's a lot of contradiction and contrariness. I hear a lot of guys saying, Why are we in this argument? Why are we fighting with people that they care about? There is a poor habit of trying to avoid conflict. You know, if I say that, then it's going to do this. If I make this choice, then we're going to go down this road. And I don't want to deal with that. And I don't want to deal with this. And what I have come to learn and accept is that is a form of dishonesty. It's meant for self-preservation. I don't want to fight. I don't want to hurt. I don't want whatever. But I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I disagree. As Charlotte Van Horn said, I said what I said. I didn't ask you to like what I said. I spoke my mind. I spoke my heart. And I asked you to hear that. And I think that the capability of it is, I think there's a support system that needs to be in place that encourages that in a way that's more than just, you need to say it, but I was listening when you said it. Communication is difficult in general, and is proven to be difficult for men in general, but men are not incapable of verbal communication. Men are not incapable of active, honest, consistent communication. They're looking for spaces where they can say it, be heard. Not, you know, we're avoiding having a full conversation. But hear me out first. Hear me out first. And I think that's important. And it's a learning process. Do you want, ladies, do you want the men in your life for longer than right now? Do you want them for more than just a paycheck? Do you want them for more than just a legacy? You know, is it important to you that they be in your life for a long time? Then what are the things that you know that are important for them to feel they're in a space to say, when I go home, I feel safe? It is harder to feel unsafe at home than it is to feel unsafe at work. You expect the people at work to be disrespectful. You expect the people at work to be dishonest, to be conniving, to be mean, to be, you go into this process waiting for that. I mean, you gear up for that. There's a part of you that does not want to deal with that at your house. You don't want to deal with that. That's not beneficial. Somebody asked me recently if I had a man cave, and I said, why? I like spending time with my wife. I don't need a place to hide when I get home. I don't require that. If I say to Dee, I need to sit down a little while, I need to be quiet, I'm going to bed, she is great about honoring that and allowing me that space. That is important to me. I long for that time because she's made that space available. And that is a big deal. Doesn't help anyone listen. Now, don't misunderstand me. It's important that there is a space for both people to express their frustrations, their angers, their disappointments. But it has to be both ways. It has to be heard and spoken on both platforms, in both environments. And the sharing, especially with a couple, the sharing builds a bond that is, in my humble opinion, that is unmatched then beyond just we're good and everything's great and we like each other. When both people feel they have a space to share, and we can have an unpleasant conversation and I love you later, because that unpleasant conversation wasn't about fighting each other in anger. It was just about expressing feelings and emotions. That's important for men. And men, I'm asking you to step forward into that honesty. And ladies, I'm asking you create the space. Create the space. Don't hear what you want to hear. Hear what was said. Hear what was shared. If you don't understand, ask. Help me understand that. I want to make sure I understood. Are you saying to me, you know, Dee and I took classes that said once upon a time, men is a simple phrase you can share with your partners. When I feel. I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you how this makes me feel. When I feel. Your partner, when you hear that message, I heard you say in your own words, repeat what you heard they said, and they have a chance to say, yes, that's what I mean. Or no, you understood that differently. What I'm saying is, and you do that however many times it takes to have a conversation and to communicate together. A strong, open conversation space creates a health environment that is, you can watch the person in your life, especially the man in your life, be more. We have been trained to, my job is to carry and to carry. But every once in a while, we need to be carried too. Every once in a while, we need to lean to. We need a place to valve off the stress, the sadness, and the secrets. Gentlemen, trust your gut. That's my little word for today, my little thought for today. If you come later and you watch us later, please hit hashtag replay and put that in the comment section, because it's important that we continue these conversations. Yeah, Big Sis Dula. Yeah. When you shout at me, I feel disrespected. Yeah. When you ignore me, I feel alone. Yes, men have those feelings too. Yeah. When you dismiss me, I feel belittled. When you talk over me, I feel unheard. Okay? If there's a place you can man up, men, man up with that. Speak your hearts. Speak your truths. Unaddressed truths are unspoken lies. Do not lie to yourself. Do not lie to the people you care about and who care about you, because your gut will tell on you. I am Herman. This is H&D Abroad. Thank you to all those who are in the chat today. You know where to find us. We'll be here Saturday, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you all soon. Have a good one.